And here we go. Good morning. Today is November 4th, 2020. This is the day after the election. This is the Loving What Separates Us course. As I like to say, it's part of my personal mission of healing the wounds in the heart of America. And of course, it's sponsored by this wonderful school of the heart called I Am Heart. And it's funny, it just comes up now that I want to tell the story. But I've had a friend in the school, I'll keep them anonymous, who was a Buddhist, a very adept Buddhist, had successfully taught Buddhist concepts that many of the Tibetan Buddhists did not think could be taught in the West, had spent his time in caves in India, excuse me, in Tibet, and was ready to go and get initiated to a much higher level in the Buddhist system of initiation. And he went to go see this venerable Buddhist master who said to him, "You know, you are certainly deserving of being initiated for what you've done, what you've demonstrated in your life, but I can't initiate you." My friend was sort of shocked and he said, "Why?" And he said, "Because this is not your path. Your path is a path of the heart. You need to go find a legitimate path of the heart." He says they are rare, but they exist. So he went home and he had this library of New Age books, that he said, I had almost every New Age book ever written. I'm sure he's exaggerating there, but he had quite a few. And anyway, he was certainly just sort of at one point, because he didn't know what to do, didn't know where to look. And he was sort of going through some of his books at one point, and Living from Your Heart, Baron and Susanna's book, just sort of fell off the bookshelf. And he looked at it. He was from Los Angeles. They're in Tucson. He got in his car and he drove over there. And there it was, this path of the heart. So it's not for everyone, this path of the heart, but it's a really profound opening that awaits everyone when our hearts open up. And we talk about our third eye opening. My experience is it's far more profound to have our hearts open up. And with that, let's talk about the election results with an open heart. So the way I look at it, and I looked at several different sites and television stations, that sort of thing. What it looks like to me is that the race is undecided. The presidential race is undecided at this point. Certainly, Joe Biden, if Joe Biden wins the states that are leaning towards him, he will be our next president. But it doesn't rule out the possibility of Donald Trump winning. So that's what it looks like. And now we get to sit in this field of uncertainty. It does look like it's undetermined at this point which way the Senate will go. So far, the Republicans have lost one Senate seat, and there's a number still up for grabs. So the surprising thing is, and I read this just once, is that the House is still definitely Democratic, but the Republicans actually gained seats in the House, which was a surprise to me. Maybe I just wasn't watching that very much. So there you have it. And just how do we feel, each one of us? How do we feel with uncertainty? Just check that feeling. I know the polls were saying, and I was believing, honestly, that Joe Biden was pretty much a lock in this. That expectation certainly was not met. How do we feel about that? Some of us may be feeling very relieved. Some may be feeling, how could it be this way? It's also true that Donald Trump, we'll leave it Joe Biden because he's leading there. In the popular vote, Joe Biden has about 50%, maybe slightly more than the popular vote. Donald Trump has about 48, maybe 48.5%. And how do we feel about our electoral college that does not run as if we're a democracy? It runs as if we're a republic, which legally and traditionally we are. How do we feel about that? What resistance do we have to that? And then all of this, how much do we allow the results in the world to overshadow our inner peace? So that's the general drift of where we're going today, I think. It's actually a lot to go through. So let's just start. Let's move into our hearts by sitting up straight. This is a heart-centered meditation, a meditation of energy and love, more than a meditation focused on consciousness. The two go hand in hand, of course. It's just a matter of what do we focus on. So let's sit up straight with our feet on the floor. And just start by returning the energy of our hearts, which flows out of our arms into our hands. Place our hands on our heart and return our heart energy into our heart. And just allow ourselves to greet our hearts with love, to greet our hearts with appreciation. And maybe we can start to feel our heartbeat through our fingertips or through the palms of our hands. Whether we feel it or not, it's okay. This is always just an inner exploration. And just take a moment and notice what happens when we enjoy this very ancient posture. Seeing ancient statues People meditating like this with their hands on their heart. And when you're ready, just let your hands come down. And let's begin honoring another part of our body, our lungs and our respiratory system. And we do that just by noticing it without trying to change it. Notice our breathing, how full, how rich, how cool, how warm. Notice your nostrils. Which one is more open? Or maybe they're even today. And compare it to prior days, just to get a sense of where we are right now. That's what really counts. Where are we right now? And can we just love and honor that? We don't need to beat ourselves up for not breathing as deeply as yesterday or something like that. Could we love just where we are right now? That's our job. It's a great opportunity of loving ourselves just the way we are. And now that we've enjoyed that just brief few minutes of self-love towards our breath, now I invite you to open up the breath into our full breath, full exhale, full inhale. Now we're taking conscious control of our breathing process. When we exhale, pull the abdominal muscles all the way back towards our spine. As we exhale, as we inhale, exhale, as we let the muscles go, just naturally inhale a full abdominal breath. Full inhale, full exhale. And just check in. What do you notice as we infuse our bodies and our minds with life force through this full breath? How does your state change from when we were just getting together and saying hello to each other this morning? And now let's move into our classical heart rhythm meditation, where we connect the rhythm of our heartbeat with the rhythm of our breathing. And as always, I like to just nod in gratitude to Peron and Susanna Baer for developing this path of the heart. They came out of a Sufi tradition with Pir Vilayat Khan, who gave them the mission. And they loved their path, they loved their school. They were some of the most experienced teachers in their school. And Pir Vilayat Khan pulled him in one day and said, I want you to leave this school and go start a meditation school that will last for 700 years. You might imagine what a shock it was. The school you've been in for, I don't know, 30 years, whatever, however long it was. Suddenly he says, no, go start your own school. He says, don't make it a Sufi school. The Sufis, the Islamic tradition is going to get a very bad name in America. This is in the late 80s, 88 or something like that. 89, I think. He said, don't make it a Sufi school. So they just started the process of exploring what kind of a school should it be. And nothing seemed to be working until, I believe it was really Susanna who said, we've got to take it into the heart. And Paran had had this experience of moving into, through his heart, complete rhythm of Mother Earth, Gaia, he called her. And he knew it was the heart that had taken him there. And so they both started working on that. And out of those experiences and their research came heart rhythm meditation. And this deep intention to help everyone to move into the rhythm of the earth, the rhythm of creation. So we begin inhaling classically to 8 heartbeats, exhaling to 8 heartbeats, maybe 6 or 10. If you can't feel your heartbeat, just count is fine. It all comes in due time. And as we move into this deep rhythm, just check to notice what's the most important thing in my life. Moving into this deep rhythm, or what happens in the political arena in my country or in the world. If we're frustrated with the uncertainty, or even with the results not being as the polls predicted, just keep breathing in and out deeply. Just check to see where our attachments are. What are we attached to? And certainly the heart has its desires. There's no problem with that. But could you check to see this, what's coming up is a desire of the heart, or is it a desire of our ego and mind? Inhale to the count of 8, 6, 10, whatever. Exhale to the same count. Pull in the name of your heart. Just do that automatically. This two-syllable name that we give to our heartbeat. Traditionally, it's some great teacher, some spiritual leader. Could be aunt or an uncle, a grandparent. Anyone. Great significance and inspiration in our lives. By pulling in this name to the heartbeat, every time our heart beats, we say a syllable of it or both syllables, however you want to do it. We cultivate a connection of our heart with this divine being. So where do we want to be living? In our heart, in our ego mind. Just want to set an intention here. It's okay to live in my heart. It's okay. You might want to just check to see if there's any sense of lacking trust there. If I live in my heart, I won't have my mind to protect me. It sounds crazy when we articulate it like that, but it's a very real thought for many people because we're so used to relying on our minds to protect us. But just discriminate here. Is our mind useful for protecting us from known dangers and known threats? I would say yes. We see a situation, we go, oh, wait a second here. I've been here before and this didn't work out well. Can we honor that as a legitimate use of the mind? And I think we can all say yes to that. Inhaling to the count of 8 heartbeats. Exhaling to the same length as the inhale. So that's a legitimate and useful function of the mind, one of them. Can we give our minds some love and approval for that? That's easy enough to do, isn't it? We want our mind and ego to continue in that same vein. But let's ask another question. Can the mind really see the future? The answer is it can see probabilities, but no, it doesn't really know the future. So can the mind protect us from the unseen events, black swans, so to speak, in our life? or in the world at large. It simply cannot. So would it be okay with us if we let go of wanting our minds to protect us from unseen events, events that cannot be seen, that are outside the realm of the mind? Would it be okay with us if we just moved into our hearts, from our hearts, called for divine protection? These beings who have volunteered to be our guardians. I'm thinking of, in the Christian tradition, Archangel Michael. Classically, specifically, the protector of the woman and her seed, the woman and her child. In the Sufi tradition, it is Ya Vakil, the energy of protection. It is Subramunyam in the Vedic tradition, the captain of the commander of the forces of the armies of heaven, of the gods. They exist in virtually every culture. Maybe we accept them, maybe we don't. It doesn't matter. If we don't, would it be okay with us if we just trust the wisdom and the depth of our heart to respond to unforeseen events? Can we trust that deep wisdom, that deep intuition? Can we just trust to the infinite resourcefulness of that which is within us? It doesn't mean that life will go exactly as we expect it. There will be no disasters or something like that. It doesn't mean that. It just means we're allowing for ourselves to take and use everything that we experience as a way of moving more deeply into our hearts. So let's shift. We've been doing this heart rhythm meditation for a long time. Let's just go into the square breath or the diamond breath. I know we reviewed it yesterday, but I see from our numbers today, which are up quite a bit. Usually we have 35 to 40. Right now we're sitting at 46. It tells me, or I suspect, that there are a number of people who are unhappy with these election results. And we are so happy you are here with us. So happy that you are here to join our hearts as we explore the energies of these election results and our relationship between our hearts, our spiritual progress, and the world at large. A really big screen, a really big mirror, these national elections. So in the square breath, we'll review it again. We inhale classically, the same heartbeat rhythm meditation. We'll say inhale for 8 heartbeats, and then we'll hold for twice as long. We'll hold for 16, and then we'll exhale for 8. Inhale for 8, hold for 16, exhale for 8. If we have an irregular heartbeat and arrhythmia, something like that, just keep doing heart rhythm meditation. Other than that, and you could start with 6 if that's more comfortable. Inhale to about 70 or 80%. It's easier to hold your breath there. And let's just go with that practice. Hold for 6 or 8 or 10. Excuse me, inhale and then hold for twice that long. And exhale. It creates a very powerful rhythm. I'll just let everyone do it. Be sure to breathe with your abdominal muscles. Much easier to hold your breath when you fill up your belly rather than the top of your lungs. Just finish up this last round you're on. And notice your inner experience. How quiet are you? How connected are you? How present are you? And just come back to this full breath. And let's just explore how we feel about this election. You think about this election. What's the first thought or feeling that comes up for you? And whatever comes up, would it be okay with you to just be with that? We like it, we don't like it, we're frustrated, we can't believe it, we're relieved. Whatever it is, can you just be with that feeling? And notice after this square breath, the state you're in, how strongly do these feelings come up? These thoughts come up? What's the balance between the inner presence and the feelings and thoughts? Which is overshadowing which? It's a very powerful perception. I'm guessing most of us, our presence, our hearts, are more alive and more vibrant than the thoughts that are arising. The question is, what do we identify with? Do we identify with our thoughts and our feelings? Or do we identify with the depth of our heart? In the path of the heart, we want to be fully present and feel every part of our thoughts, our emotional body, our mental body, all the while experiencing that deep presence of the universal heart within us. Fully engaged, fully sharing the feelings, the joys, the sorrows of our neighbors, and our own thoughts and feelings. Would it be okay with us? And it's just a question. You can go there or not. If in this state of deep heartness, we extend our heart energy out to fill up our country, our world, our communities, and welcome in the collective response to this election. And some of us may say, I am not that big. I don't want to do this. And that's perfectly okay. Never do anything you're not comfortable with. But note that we are here in a tight group, a very supportive and loving group. Let's reframe the question. Would it be okay if our collective heart reached out in alignment to, in oneness with, the collective emotional reaction of our country to this election? And if you're from another country, and I know many of you are, thank you for joining us. Pull it in from your own country. The collective emotional, energetic experience. Doing this as a group. Could we allow this to be safe when we do it as a group? Can we feel that safety? Would it be okay with us if we let that wash through our collective energy and be restored into an alignment with the universal heart, the force of nature? Can we again pull this energy into our collective hearts? Deep presence that we have, and allow it to shift so that our communities, our nation, our world can move more into living from their hearts rather than being overshadowed by their emotions. Back to our own response. When we are really worried about something, really frustrated, really fearful, at that moment, the fear and the frustration have overshadowed the presence of our hearts. And can we take this exploration as a way of gaining great clarity as to when we are overshadowed and when we are living in our hearts? And let's look at another aspect of these election results, which really right now are just uncertain. As I mentioned, if former Vice President Joe Biden wins the states that he is leading in, he will be our next president. And yet, it's a very close race. If Donald Trump wins the ones he's leading in and picks up any one significant state in terms of electoral votes, he will be the next president. So in your own beingness, in your own heart, imagine that the wrong person wins. Can you notice any energetic fluctuation in your field or any sensation in your body with this thought? Usually we feel that in our torso or abdominal area or our chest, but it could be anywhere in our bodies. Just imagine for a moment, that's where the energy is. The person you have been supporting does not win. And what picture does that bring forth? Let's make it the worst, that your party does not win either the Senate or the presidency. Both, it's all open still uncertain. Can you welcome up your reaction to that? And which would you prefer? Would you prefer to be overshadowed by this emotional energy? Or would you prefer to move into your heart and live in peace and love? I'm assuming we'd all rather be in peace and love. And notice that I'm not asking you to give up your emotional experience. I'm asking you to favor your heart. Favor the depth, the wisdom, and the power of your heart, the love of your heart. And from this great place of love and depth of our heart, can we greet our reaction to the wrong party winning the House, the Senate, and the presidency? I think the House is pretty much set to remain Democratic. Could we just greet that with love, honor the feeling, and make a conscious choice to use that energy to fuel our activity, or to allow that energy to be healed, transformed into more heart energy? Either way, can we view this energy, this feeling that arises, as a gift for us to use, an asset? Can we see this as representing or coming out of a deep energetic pool that we ourselves have stored up for our use when we can handle it? And is it okay if we claim that authority now? To reconnect to this lost, suppressed energy within us, to claim it as part of ourselves, to honor it and love it. And check to see if it feels like a contradiction within yourself. Here we are, intending to be beings of love and light, this pure influence in creation, using love and light to create the life that we want. And how does it feel to claim what we may call our shadow side, our dark side, our wounded side, and allow it to be there just the way it is. Some of us will just say yes to that automatically, and some will go, wait a second. There is deep, ugly, scary stuff in there. And I say, yes, there is. And would it be okay with us if we just start loving every part of us, every part of our past? It's one thing to love every part of our past as a concept, but even that is a great step. Let's just do that. In a general sense, can we look at our life now and be grateful for who we are and recognize that it comes out of our experiences of the past? Whatever they are, here we are now with our life the way it is, moving more and more into our hearts. And we acknowledge that and be grateful for our lives right now. And rather than investigate our past trauma by trauma, is it okay with us if we just take the perspective that here we have great richness of experience, good and bad, for us to digest and use when we are ready and willing and able to do so? But for the moment, it's enough to simply acknowledge that it's there and allow it to be there. And in our last few minutes, let's go to another area. Wanting to control where the country goes. Can you check to see if you have a desire to control here? And let's just discriminate this wonderful air element. How much control does each one of us have over this election? And I am not suggesting we move into apathy and do nothing. Far from it. What I'm suggesting is we get very clear that we have a voice and it deserves to be heard. And perhaps on a very subtle level, at the depths of our heart, we do have some powerful influence on our nation. But even there, if our alignment is not with the universal heart, how much power do we have? If we don't align with the force of evolution, how much authority and power do we really have? And is it not true? And it's just a question. I'll just ask it more innocently. Where do we have the most power? As an individual or in alignment with the universal flow? Would it be okay with us if we let go of wanting to control this election and simply move into our hearts and surrender to the wisdom of the collective? Where is there more peace? And do we really want the responsibility of running this country? Do you want to be responsible? The funny thing is, we are and we're not. Here I'm playing on the not side. That trying to control a country as an individual is like trying to control Niagara Falls. The water is going to flow. And I'll just say just from my perspective, there's a definite flow towards socialism, towards a collective responsibility for everyone. The flow is there, and yet there's still a strong voice for personal responsibility. It feels like the balance is shifting. And is it okay with us if we hold to our own heart's desires, put that desire out to the universe, and then accept however the universe moves? Could we do that? Could we simply hold our own vision, hold our own desires, put that out, let it go, and move into a place of acceptance and peace for whatever comes up? Acceptance and peace for whatever comes up. Now let's just come back and feel our heartbeat again if we've lost it. Feel our feet on the floor. Notice where we are internally. How connected to our heart are we? How present are we to love, kindness, intuition, depth, power? And take our 20-second walk through our morning, through our day, how the day goes. Could we allow ourselves to greet with whatever happens, comes, whatever comes? Can we greet it with peace and with love and use it to move into our hearts even more, whatever comes? And just To close this meditation, open your eyes, be gentle with yourself. Open your eyes when you're ready. I'm moving us into gallery view. So your face will be sort of more on record if on the recording. So if you want to stop your video, feel free to do so. For those who have to leave, thank you so much for coming. This ends the formal part of our class. Now we move into this optional section where we share gains, or if you're stirred up by what's happened in this meditation or in the world or in any part of your life, and you would like the collective support of all of our hearts, simply just raise your hand or unmute yourself and speak up.
Hi, Stephen. This is Andrea.
Oh, good morning, Andrea. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Ah, lovely centering meditation.
Good.
I guess for me this morning, what's coming up is just kind of a father figure, resistance to authority. Interestingly, my personal father is very similar to Trump. And I did this quiet meditation this morning to open my heart and center myself and do a little heart rhythm meditation, and then proceeded to find an email from my father that just was so politically, and I went ahead and bit the bait, and I just sent an email back about my honest thoughts about Trump. And there's part of me that kind of liked it, but I also was ignoring that my heartbeat got really fast, and I just was plowing through anyway. My ego really wanted to make a point to my father, and on some level I'm like okay with that. I witnessed it. I know that I chose to do that, and part of me even enjoyed it. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm going to jump into Stephen Wynn's meditation and go back into being a spiritual being again. And I just am noticing that it's okay. But I think what I'd like to make peace with is feeling betrayed by an authority figure that wants to throw out someone's opinion, many opinions, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of opinions.
Millions, even.
Millions. I'll
So
throw that opinion out. Yeah, so it's just the authoritarian, big father authoritarian thing that just, yeah.
So let's all go there, and we'll pick up a couple things here. It's a beautiful expression there, Andrea. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Thank you.
So I'm going to invite for everyone to get in touch with a family member or good friend who does not share your beliefs. That's one part of this. And the other part of this is this feeling of betrayal. And that can be on either side. And both sides have this. So just get in touch with this. But let's start with the family member. And we'll go into betrayal here. So Andrea, and I'll work with Andrea, but everyone go with your own family member or friend. So Andrea, can you welcome up the energy of your father and his similarity to Donald Trump.
Yes.
Yes. And how do you feel about him being like Donald Trump?
The words that are coming to mind is I hate it.
Hate it. Good. Can you just get in touch with that? Allow that intensity to come up?
Yes.
Yes. And everyone else, how do you feel about them believing the way they believe? So, Andrea,
Yes.
can you just for a moment while you're feeling this, can you just welcome it up, this energy?
Yes.
Can you greet it with love?
Yes.
Yeah, of course you can. You've done it many times. Could you let go of disapproving of this energy?
Yes.
Could you let go of disapproving of yourself for not being perfect?
Yes.
Yes. And can you check to see if you're holding this belief that you shouldn't have any negative energy?
Yes.
Yes. My goodness, I wonder if any of the rest of us have that same belief. I see a few heads nodding. Think you're not alone, Andrea. So let's all examine that belief together. Is it really true that we shouldn't have negative energy? Is it in our highest spiritual interest that we don't have negative energy? Andrea, does your mind have an answer to that?
Yeah. It says, no, it's okay to have quote unquote negative energy, or I don't know. There really is no negative or bad. It's just all energy.
It's okay to have negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
So can you all take that thought? It's okay to having negative energy. It's okay to have negative energy. Can you give yourself that freedom? Whew. So, Andrew, I'm reminded of this poem by Rumi. It's been turned into a song that more or less says, even if you've broken your vows 10,000 times, you are welcome here. Okay? Would it be okay with you, Andrea, even if you've been negative 10,000 times, that every part of you is welcome to your heart?
Yes.
Yes. And everyone else, even if we've been negative again and again and again, you're welcome here. Now let's take this a little further. So, Andrea, take this statement. I look forward to having negative energy again. Everyone else, take the same statement. See
Yes.
what see what energy comes up. What comes up for you, Andrea, with that?
Humor,
Yeah.
lightness,
Yes.
playfulness.
Because we all know how true it is, don't we?
Yes.
It's there. It's part of us. Is it okay with you, Andrea, if you love that part of you some more,
Yes.
and even still more?
Yes.
And is it okay with you if you take this belief that you should be perfect, you just offer it up to creation and let it go?
Yes.
Yes. And would it be okay for you, and I'm inviting everyone to go here also, if we allow ourselves to shift what our definition of perfection is? Would that be okay with you?
Yes.
Now we've hold this belief that we're perfect when we're all light and all love. Would it be okay with you if we shift the definition of perfection to being, I'm perfect when I accept every part of myself. Would that be okay with you?
Yes.
Yes. And everyone else, is that okay with you if we shift what our definition of perfection is? Wow, a lot of freedom in that, isn't there? Now, go back to your father and everyone, to your own family members or friends. Would it be okay with you, Andrea, if you allowed your father to be exactly who he is?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And do you want to have the freedom to pursue your own spiritual growth as you see fit?
Yes.
Would you extend that same freedom to your father?
Yes.
Yes. And would it be okay with you if you use your father as a vehicle to move into unconditional love?
Yes.
Yes. So all your friends out there that vote for the wrong guy, thank them for giving you the opportunity to move into unconditional love. Whew. Yes. And I think there's a lot of peace with that. That's how I'm feeling my energy pulse of the group. I tell you, I'll just tell you my experience because I believe this will start to all of you, happen for all of you. And I know there are many of you who are teachers in your own right here. Andrea is. What happens for me when I'm teaching is I feel the energy of each of you, not individually, but collectively. And I feel what comes up and I can go there. So I'm telling you this because I know you will start to have this also. And just welcome it. And I forgot why I'm telling you this. So my sense is that we've pretty much come to peace with the family members and that, and it's time to move on to betrayal. That be okay with you, Andrea?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. Okay. So can you welcome up this energy of betrayal? Everyone else, who has betrayed you? And really, all of our friends we share so many values with, suddenly they hold a different political value. There's that sense of betrayal, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, you're part of my tribe and you're stepping out of it. So, Andrea, because you're the marker here, so can you welcome up that feeling of betrayal?
Yes.
And is it you who's feeling this sense of betrayal, or is it the other person? Is it your father?
Mm, probably both, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's you right now that it's coming up with. Yeah, it's interesting. Your father's probably feeling betrayed by his daughter, who's not following his lead like a good daughter should, or a
Hmm.
good child should. Okay. So that's very interesting in itself, isn't it? But let's just play with our own energies. Notice that it's we who are feeling betrayed. And Andrea,
Yeah.
if you gave your father permission to feel exactly what he's feeling, would he be betraying you?
No.
No, he would not be, would he? So as we give other people permission to be exactly who they are, Andrea, do you notice that what you're doing is you're expanding the definition of your tribe?
Mm.
You see that?
Yeah.
As we allow others to believe as they believe, others to pursue their path, their spiritual growth, the way they want to pursue their spiritual growth. That what's happening is we're shifting from our current definition of who our tribe is and expanding it to allow everyone to be part of our tribe, whatever belief they have. Is that okay with you, Andrea?
Yeah.
You see that process, what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
So can everyone pull up who you define your tribe to be? And usually we define our tribe as being people like me, right? Would it be okay with everyone if we shift that definition by going into our heart and allowing our tribe to be everyone who is human? We might want to expand it even further. Could we allow our hearts to expand our definition of who is like me to include all of our four-legged friends, all of our friends with two wings, all the animal kingdom? Could we expand our sense of who is like me to the vegetable and plant kingdom, the trees, the plants, all living creatures? And let me ask, in terms of betrayal, who have we betrayed by holding a narrow vision of who our tribe is? Who have we betrayed? Can we welcome up that sense of failure? Because we don't want to be betraying anyone, I know. And just love that sense of failure. That, yes, that's me. Could we allow ourselves to be people who fail? Whew, some energy on that one. Could we allow ourselves some more to be people who fail sometimes? That makes it softer, doesn't it? And can we love ourselves even if we sometimes fail? We love ourselves some more, even if we sometimes betray those that we love. So could we expand this out to the half of the country or close to half of the country that does not share our beliefs? Can we see that we have been judging them rather than loving them? And what a failure that has been. And can we love ourselves anyway? Can we love the fact that the process of spiritual growth is step by step, failure upon failure? Can you see that, Andrea?
Yeah.
Fail again, we fail again, we fail again, and then we master it. Can we love that process? I'm thinking of that classic Thomas Edison story, failing 10,000 times to find a filament for the light bulb. Can we see our spiritual growth happening in exactly the same way? Wonderful failure upon wonderful failure. Until finally we create a new habit of love. So, Andrea, can you look at the people in authority and this feeling of being betrayed by them? And half the country has that, by the way. And the other half, in this case, it feels betrayed by the House of Representatives, people in authority. You see that?
Yes.
You see how similar we all are. We all have the same patterns. We all have the same challenges. Is it okay with you, Andrea, if you just see this as a spiritual dance on all sides?
Yes.
Yes. And can you see this judgment that we all have of our leaders as betraying us? And this betrayal energy, how does it feel for you? Nice feeling?
Well, it's so much lighter than when we started the meditation. It's almost just like story now.
Yeah, it's just a story, isn't it? Can
Mm-hmm.
everyone go there that when we are feeling betrayal energy, it's just a story we're telling ourselves? And is it okay with you, Andrea, if you let that story go and choose a more fulfilling story?
Yes.
Yeah. Would it be okay with you if you welcome up this feeling of betrayal? Say, yes, thank you. You're a part of me. And now it's okay if we move into love.
Yes.
And we look at our leaders, and can our leaders be anything other than a reflection of the will and the consciousness of the people? I mean, isn't that just what they are? They're
Mm-hmm.
in there because the people vote them in there. They're reflecting. Could you have compassion for these leaders who, in their quieter moments, I am quite certain, want to be the best possible leaders and are captured by the vast energetic play of the people? See that picture?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could we all have compassion for our leaders? Could we all have compassion for our leaders? And notice what happens when we go to compassion. How far, how close are we to peace when we're in compassion? I'd say pretty close. Could we all just allow ourselves to move into peace? And more peace. And more peace. And from this place of peace, can we once again welcome up every part of ourselves, the light and the dark, the so-called good habits and the so-called bad habits, and allow them to be there just the way they are. From this place of peace, can we allow everything within us to be perfect just the way it is? And taking this out to the macro level, from this place of peace, can you allow the realm of politics to be just the way it is? perfect just the way it is. And I feel a big pinch with that. I don't know if that's me or that's everyone. If you find it hard to allow yourself to see the political world as perfect just the way it is, would it be okay with you if you just come back into your heart and feel your peace again? And allow that peace to expand and expand even more. And what for you is the most powerful way to look at the political world? As a victim of the political world, being betrayed, we're being a victim, or as a being of great power and love, allowing the universe to evolve the way it needs to evolve. How are you with that, Andrea?
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm peaceful with it. It's all Act One, Scene Two,
One scene two.
playing out. hmm Yeah, I'm
So
at
I think
peace with that.
thank you so much for leading these two fabulous,
Mm,
perfect fields you brought us to.
Thank you so much.
So that's about the end. Unless there's someone still stirred up, I'm happy to stay. But this is our classic time when we stop. So I'm just going to say thank you all so much from the depth of my heart
Mm.
to a very deep place within my heart. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you all. God bless us all and see you tomorrow.